This week on the Spotlight, we talked to Jimmy Butler. He's one of the big three alpha bulls. We talked to Ricky Renteria. He's the new manager of the White Sox, and that's a good thing. Then we go back to the Bulls and talk to Rajon Rondo. I hope he loosens up a little bit. And then we talk to the general manager of the White Sox, Rick Hahn, who I think is underrated this week. Check out my website, benkowski.com, for my weekly article and up-to-the-minute trivia sites. It's the Perfect Pitch Auto Repair Sports Spotlight. Great repairs at 108th and Kedzie. Flowers for every imaginable occasion at Lansing Floral Shop. Call them at 708-474-1212. They deliver. You've got to get to Sheffield's. Great food, great drink, great staff, and my trivia game. Wednesday, October 19th, I got one at 7:30 p.m. in beautiful Dyer, Indiana. Get to Sheffield's. I'll see you over there. You've got to get to the Sock. Live Benkowski Trivia. Alternate Thursdays, 8 p.m., 93rd and Roberts Road. See you there. With a 30-year Southwest Side tradition, Huck Finn is open 24 hours to serve you with great breakfasts like the Becky Thatcher, soups, great lunches, 1/3 pound burgers, clubs, and much more. Dinners from seafood to steaks to pasta, great donuts, and ice creams. With 3 locations at Archer and Damon, 67th and Pulaski, and 105th and Cicero. Stop in today. You know Huck Finn is open. You've got to get to Dr. Sherman Clay, chiropractor. Gentle adjusting. Most insurance accepted. Massage therapy, too. Walk-ins are welcome. Call 773-324-4325. That's HEAL. Dr. Sherman Clay. You've got to get to Lulu's because they've got it all. Italian beef, hot dogs, burgers, chicken, gyros, fish, salads, subs, ribs, and a lot more. At Taylor and Ogden, 2200 West, you got to check out Lulu's. They got everything. Snappers Seafood and Chicken has come to Chicago, and what an extensive menu. Tilapia, perch, catfish, shrimp, conch from the Miami Connection, it's so fresh, crab, Philly steak, and they also have grilled foods at 115th and Western. A massive menu. I've just touched on some of it. Oysters, you name it. You got to get the Snappers at 115th and Western. You've got to get to Shelton Fireworks, the world's largest warehouse, off Interstate 94, exit 22B in Porter, Indiana. Row after row of the best fireworks anywhere, from the little ones to the grand finales that'll end your show. Birthdays, anniversaries, graduations, in addition to the 4th of July. Just get over there to Shelton Fireworks now. Then you can reload by the time summer comes. Shelton Fireworks, I-94, exit 22B in Portage. We're back on the Spotlight announcing the new manager of the White Sox, Ricky Renteria. And one of the things that I like about him right off the bat is that he's the modern-day manager in this sense. He's been a coach in the minors, a manager. He has a lot of years under his belt. He played in the major leagues, but not as a star. So he sat on the pines, listened to his manager talk, and explain why moves were being made. And on top of all that, Ricky's taken some psychology classes. And that's very evident in some of his answers at Sox Park the day he was announced.
I'm extremely excited. As Rick mentioned earlier, it's a little bittersweet because I became good friends with Robin. And I'm glad that, at this point, this opportunity has arisen. And I'm glad that he was a person that was encouraging me to, be a part of it.
John? This one's for Ricky, I guess. That's how we'll differentiate you guys. What was your pitch, I guess, to Rick and to the other people in management of what you can do to kind of get this team over the hump where they've kind of had some problems in the past few years?
Is that to me?
Yeah.
Well, my personality, I think, is, a lot of you know me, I usually work in a very positive manner. I am still, I try to be a very detailed-oriented person, and there are a lot of expectations that, I hope to place before us. Not that they haven't been placed there, but hopefully I can just continue to follow through with what's been laid out. And as Rick said, hopefully transition easily with the guys that are here. They kind of know what I'm about. Hopefully, as we work together as a group, we'll find a way to motivate these guys and continue to encourage them and help them just become better ball players and kind of give ourselves, to continue to grow and have an identity for ourselves in terms of how we go about playing the game.
Hi, Ricky. Pat Mankowski, Sports Spotlight TV. I want to find out how you assess yourself
As a handler of pitchers. That's been kind of a difficult spot at times, and maybe when to pull a pitcher out from a starting spot and which reliever to put in at which time.
Well, obviously, the relievers are a big piece of that. We're hoping that we can improve on that aspect of it. But a couple of simple rules I always, we've talked about. I kind of hope to be able to pull a pitcher one pitch too soon than rather one pitch too late, depending on what the score is and what we have in terms of room available to us. Every pitcher that we have is different, obviously. Some guys you give a little bit more room to than others. But I think it's all going to depend on basically our attack and our plan for the day. I think when we go over a series meeting, we obviously talk about certain scenarios that will arise during a ball game, and hopefully we'll have all those things kind of planned out when those situations arise in terms of finding the matchups that work best for us. And hopefully, we won't skip a beat, and when need be, we'll have somebody ready to go ahead and take over for the guy that's been in there.
Cheryl raced out with WBEZ Radio. Ricky, you had 1 year with the Cubs as a manager. You took a year off. You came back as a bench coach. What have you learned in these 3 years that maybe you changed, or maybe you developed a different style or technique for your managerial now going forward?
Well, obviously, after I left the North Side, you get a chance to take a step back and see what's going on. I think the biggest thing is obviously, as Rick was saying, change many times is inevitable. Things happen through nobody's fault. Things occur. And I think that you always must be prepared on a daily basis to not take anything for granted. This opportunity is a great opportunity. I think that when you give yourself to a task, if you really appreciate the importance of it, without at the same time taking yourself too seriously, you can accomplish a lot of things. And so hopefully I've learned that, these opportunities are fleeting, and that we're going to try and take advantage of every moment that we have it.
Ricky kind of summed up some of what I was asking about. I guess for Ricky then, would there have been a direction in your conversations with Rick in taking this job that would not have made you feel comfortable in it, in that, you've been part of at least the beginning of a rebuild with your other job as manager? Would there have been a direction that wouldn't have made you think that this was the right place for you?
No, I thought in our conversations, the one thing that I've tried to stress to myself, to coaches and everything is our job is to handle the players that we have. So whether it's a veteran club or a young club, my job is to get the most out of whomever it is that we're going to be presented with. So when you take a managing job, I can tell you that you can try to do both, win and develop with younger players. It might be a little tougher proposition because there are quite a few bumps in the road, but in either case, you're trying to end up at the same place. You're trying to develop an organization and a club that's going to give you some consistency over an extended period of time and give you the ability to hopefully post up in the postseason, at least get in, and then you take it from there, whatever happens.
You've got to get to Lansing Floral Shop. Open at 8 a.m. daily. Besides a great array of live flowers, they have custom silks, Bridgewater candles. They want you to plan your parties early at a wide delivery area. They're located at 3420 Ridge Road in Lansing, or you can call 708-474-1212. Weddings, funerals, birthdays, anniversaries, and guys, try the No Reason flower. Believe me, it works. Lansing Floral Shop. Give them a call, 708-474-1212. Kim G. Sherman, psychotherapist, Desplaines Wellness Center. Therapy for individuals, couples, families. Call 847-962-4849. I've known Kim for over 20 years. She is a true professional, and she will help you. Give her a call. Family Dentist, Lawrence Furlan, DDS, 109th and Kedzie, crowns, veneers, cleanings, improving your smile. They do a great job. Call 773-233-7044. Excellent work, impeccable. Call the Family Dentist, 773-233-7044. They did a great job for me, and they'll do a great job for you. You've got to get to Shelton Fireworks, the world's largest warehouse, off Interstate 94, exit 22B in Porter, Indiana. Row after row of the best fireworks anywhere, from the little ones to the grand finales that'll end your show. Birthdays, anniversaries, graduations, in addition to the 4th of July. Just get over there to Shelton Fireworks now. Then you can reload by the time summer comes. Shelton Fireworks, I-94, exit 22B in Portage. So last season was defined by Jimmy Butler when he told Coach Fred Hoiberg, you got to coach harder. I don't mean to keep bringing it up, but it was a hilarious statement. And the whole season this year will be based on him not having to say that anymore. And Jimmy talks about that, about how he wants Hoiberg to correct them all the time so the young players will take note and say, well, if he's yelling at Jimmy, he's going to yell at me, so I better get it right. A pretty cool thing for Jimmy to say, actually. We'll see how that plays out.
What makes you enthused about going into this season, your first without Derrick Rose and Joakim Noah, and what you have in the cupboard to cook up the ingredients to get you guys back into the playoffs and maybe to the Eastern Conference Finals and hopefully the NBA Finals?
Yeah, obviously. I'm excited about the group of guys that we have. Everybody that's put in all the work in the offseason. Our young guys are super confident with how they've been playing, and I'm very excited about that. And then obviously Wade, Rondo, what they bring to the table that I can learn from them. Obviously the winning culture that they've built in this league, what they've done. I'm excited because there's so much growth that I can handle in that aspect of the game. When you look at what Wade has done for his career, future Hall of Famer, I think that I can model the way I do things around him, man. I'm super excited that he's here, and I'm sure Rondo gonna keep me on my toes as well.
Jimmy, how curious are you to see how you guys are going to play together? That's kind of been what people have been talking about in town.
I think everybody's looking forward to that. Myself, Gar and Pax, all the team, y'all. So, I'm excited. I love to play basketball anyway, but I get to do it with some new guys, some new faces. I think we got a really good chance.
Jimmy, give us a highlight or two about your Olympic experience and how this will make you better this season in the NBA.
The highlight of my Olympic experience?
One or two of them.
Okay, well, first off, I took my football everywhere. I think that was my highlight, just being able to embarrass DeMarcus Cousins when he tried to guard me on football routes. But if we're talking basketball, it's just watching the way, Melo or KD would work before and after practice and go running and lift weights. And then you're like, well, that's why they're the player that they are in this league. Studying the way that they do things, the way they take care of their body. I learned a lot from that aspect of them this summer as well.
Jimmy, what are you hoping to see out of Fred or get out of Fred? He's talked a lot about a communication. I know you guys have talked a lot as well. Is there something you've told him that you need from him?
I told Fred as much as you can, use me as an example. I want you to really get on my tail about every little thing, because if Doug or Tony or whoever it may be is watching Coach talk to me like that, he's going to be like, if he could talk to Jimmy like that, I know he's going to come at me a certain way. So that's what I try to remind him every day, and I think he's ready for that. I'm a player. I'm coachable like everybody else, but I want that. I need that.
Jimmy, in the back.
What up? Oh,
How's it going?
great.
I'm sure. On the surface, when you look at the roster, it doesn't seem like you guys have a ton of three-point shooting. You've seen the way the game has changed the last couple seasons. It's more open. You guys love to fling it up from behind the arc. What makes you think this group has enough to consistently win without it?
When you talk about, I guess, not being able to shoot threes or whatever you want to call it, I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe D-Wade has scored a lot of points when it came to putting that ball in that basket. I've done decently in the past couple of years. Rondo can do that. And if Rondo can't, he damn sure can find a way to get the ball to somebody that can. So I don't think putting the ball in the basket is going to be an issue for us. I don't think that was an issue for us last year. I don't think we guarded the way we were supposed to guard last year, so it made it look like we didn't score the ball as well. But I think we'll be fine. I think when you put good players on the court at the same time, they always figure out a way to put the ball in the basket.
With a 30-year Southwest Side tradition, Huck Finn is open 24 hours to serve you with great breakfasts like the Becky Thatcher, soups, great lunches, 1/3 pound burgers, clubs, and much more. Dinners from seafood to steaks to pasta, great donuts, and ice creams. With 3 locations at Archer and Damon, 67th and Pulaski, and 105th and Cicero. Stop in today. You know Huck Finn is open. Go play at Red Shoes Billiards, 12009 South Pulaski in Alsip, featuring 16 Brunswick Gold Crown pool tables, drop fluorescent lighting fixtures, and the fabulous Grade of Cloth. Call 708-388-3700. And now video gaming is available at Red Shoes from open till close. And don't forget, the Illinois Lottery, too. That's Red Shoe Billiards, 12009 South Pulaski. You've got to get to the Sock Live Minkowski Trivia, alternate Thursdays at 8 p.m. 93rd and Roberts Road. Great game, great people. Check out the Sock. I think you'll be glad you did when you go to my trivia game every other Thursday. 8 p.m., 93rd and Roberts Road. Perfect Pitch Auto Repair at 108th and Kedzie does tune-ups, transmission, AC service, engine repair, tire repair, oil changes, and emission system repair. They're open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., and they've done a great job for me. Perfect Pitch Auto Repair at 108th and Kedzie. You've got to get to the Wise Owl. Pizzas, pork sliders, Cuban, carrot soup, elote, burgers, and my trivia game Monday, October 10th at 8 p.m. Great cocktails and bartenders. It's in Van Buren and Racine. They got a parking lot. The Wise Owl is a cool place. I want to see you there. It's with a great sense of relief that I come to you from Sox Park and say, Robin Ventura had enough. No mas, Robin Ventura said. And after 800 plus games, he at least had the stones to admit he wasn't very good at that manager thing. So they hand over the reins to Ricky Renteria, a guy who's paid his dues. He's been around the block, minor league manager, briefly Cubs manager, coaching in various positions. This guy has been in baseball for probably 35 years, and he's bringing a lot of credentials to the table. And Rick Hahn talks about the decision-making process.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for being here today. I do want to try to address some of the questions that I anticipate up front, some of the potential misperceptions out there about this process, and then after introducing you formally to the next manager of the Chicago White Sox, we'll throw it open for questions. Today is, or this past week, or several days, I should say, a little bit of a bittersweet process. Obviously, a good man, a good loyal White Sox, and then for me personally, a good friend, is no longer with the organization. At the same time, we are now turning the page and looking forward, and are very optimistic and excited about what we have to announce today. But first, before we get to Rick, a few comments on Robin Ventura. You know, I think his class and character throughout his entire 5-year tenure, part of what attracted us to him initially when he was targeted and recruited to be the manager of this club, showed through very strongly, not just over the course of his tenure, but certainly very much over the last month or so. It was a little over a month back that Robin and I first had the conversation in which he raised the notion that he felt it was time for the organization to make a change in the managerial chair. He had some personal reasons behind it, which I will not go into, but at the same time, his main concern and his main focus was what was best for this organization. He and I, obviously, we spoke every day, and those conversations specifically happened over a number of days, as I said, a little over a month ago. And part of what Robin wanted to emphasize was to give us the opportunity to begin a search and to have time to enter the off-season with a plan in mind in terms of what we wanted to do in terms of his replacement. At that time, he also spoke highly of Rick, which was not a surprise, and we began the process of sitting down and having more specific conversations with Rick about him fitting into this role. We feel in Rick we are now in the position to commit fully to him as our manager for several reasons. He is obviously very well respected throughout this game, has an incredibly high baseball IQ and a tireless work ethic, which everyone is aware of. He has the ability to communicate across a multicultural clubhouse and is already extremely well respected within that room. For us, this is not a quick process. This isn't something that happens overnight. The fact of the matter is that there are lists throughout this building of potential successors for just about every position in this organization should something arise, mine included in all probability. And Rick has been on the list for us as a potential managerial candidate for a number of years, even prior to his most recent opportunity. He has also been on our list for a number of years as a potential bench coach. The fact of the matter is that we reached out to Rick 2 years ago to try to get him in the organization, and obviously were able to hire him a year ago to join Robin's staff. I remember at the time when we made that move, in discussing it with Jerry and Kenny, I expressed that I only had one concern with this hire, and that is that Rick was likely only going to be here for a year, since assuming things went the way we all had hoped, it was a near certainty that someone else was going to snap him up to be their big league manager for 2017. And had he gotten to the market this offseason, I certainly believe that was going to be the case elsewhere for him. We had a number of conversations, both Rick and I alone over the course of the last month, as well as larger group conversations involving Buddy Bell and Kenny and Jerry Reinsdorf. And ultimately, we made the decision that it was in our best interest and very clearly evident to us that we had the best candidate available in-house already. I do understand, and I have heard questions, and it was certainly something we talked about internally. Why did we not throw this thing open to a larger search and go through a formal process through a screen of those outside the game? I will say there really were a few factors factoring into that. First, we were pretty confident, very confident, that as qualified as candidates as there may be out there in the game, we certainly weren't going to find anyone who we would feel any better about in terms of his leadership ability, his experience, his communication skills, work ethic, open-mindedness, and creativity. Certainly some of the candidates might have matched him in that regard. There are some quality candidates out there in the game. What none of them were going to be able to bring, though, was that ability to seamlessly take over this position. to, on day one, already have relationships with the players in that clubhouse, with the other staff members in the organization, not only in Chicago, but throughout the minor leagues, and to hit the ground running as a respected leader within this organization.
You've got to get to Jack's, 3325 Ridge Road in Lansing. Trivia every Tuesday at 7 p.m. A very intense competitive game. Any of half a dozen teams can win. My game show at Oliver's gets better and better at 6100 West 159th Street in Oak Forest. Live trivia alternate Thursdays at 7 p.m. Have great food, great drink, and great trivia at Oliver's. Perfect Pitch Auto Repair at 108th and Kedzie is great. Tune-ups, transmissions, AC service, engine repair, tire repair, oil changes. They're open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. They do a great job for me, and they'll do a great job for you. They're quick, and they don't charge an arm and a leg. Perfect Pitch Auto Repair, 108th and Kedzie. Trivia will be at the Sock. Alternate Thursdays at 8 p.m. 93rd and Roberts Road. Great food, great drink, great people. Everything great. You've got to get to Del Sur Mexican Restaurant, open for lunch and dinner daily. Shrimp, tilapia, salmon, steak, chicken dishes, you name it. It's all there at 46th and Halsted. Great stuff at Del Sur Mexican Restaurant. Reggie's is a great place with tons of music, interesting people and staff, great food and drink at 21st and State. And amongst the cool things they have, Benkowski Trivia. All shows are now Monday at 6 p.m. Reggie's, 21st and State, a fun place. We close out this week's show with the consummate point guard, who is always finding people in the open, former NBA champion, Rajon Rondo.
I just want to get my feet wet early. Want to get all the things that I don't know in the system out of the way so I can go into camp ready to roll.
Rajon, what have been your early impressions of Fred Hoiberg?
Really intelligent. Fred and I had talked before I signed for about a total of 3 hours that day, and we just wanted to get on the same page if this thing was going to work.
Rajon, when, over here in the middle, I'm sorry, Jim Rose from Channel 7, when you, what's the difference between the Rajon Rondo that was in Boston to the one that was in Sacramento to now here being in Chicago?
I'm 30 now, but for the most part, I just continue to grow every day. I'm the same Rajon Rondo. I'm a competitor. I play team first, and I want to win.
Your management team says that they're looking to you to be the guy that opens up three-point shooting for some of the younger players on this club. How correct are they? How do you see that evolving?
I think, well, if you follow me my career, I think that's what I do best.
You've been watching the Perfect Pitch Auto Repair Sports Spotlight. Perfect Pitch located at 108th and Kedzie. Great repairs, great people. Lansing Floral, 708-474-1212.
Huck Finn, a great wide-ranging menu, along with donuts and ice cream. Open 24 hours at Archer and Damon, 67th and Pulaski, and 105th and Cicero. Imprint Graphics, leaders in booklet, perfect bound saddle stitch, very competitive pricing. Call 708-396-1010.